All right, what's going on, everyone? Liddy T or just Tina is here right now with Stevie Ray Vavages.
Hey,
And yeah, happy to have him here with us on this Sunday evening, kind of.
am I on?
Yeah, you're
I'm,
on,
I'm
you're on. And we're also on live right now on our channel.
on
So on
Facebook
our
and YouTube.
YouTube. Yeah,
Yeah,
on I believe on on Facebook. Let's see. Yeah, it's kind of let's see. I hope so. But Steve, how's it been going? What are you up to?
I'm chilling. I'm chilling. I just barely woke up from a late night gig. I was in Houston, Texas last night. Oh, Pasadena. Um, music, music still going on, so still keeping busy gigging. Work full time. Uh, what's that saying? Busting ass to be broke.
Dang, that's a lot.
Just keeping busy.
But that's good. You're keeping busy and I see that you had a gig last night. Who did you play with?
Yeah, Jaime on there. That's my full time band. I was a big old fan of his when I was 13, and now I'm in his band right next to him. So I'm playing full time with Mr. Jaime Deander.
That's awesome. Wow. Did you ever well, I guess to get things started, for Steve, me and Steve were related. He is my cousin. We grew up together.
First cousin.
And first cousin, so pretty much like a brother.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so for those who may not know or maybe they're not familiar, um, it's all in the family. And I just to see Steve where he's at today is just it's just really cool. I mean, I seen him go through a lot from the very beginning when he didn't know nothing about a guitar
Yeah.
to seeing him being frustrated while practicing and having to learn. Yeah, it's just it's been a long time coming, and to see where he's at today, it's just really cool. So, and it's just awesome to see him coming home every now and then. There's just a lot of things to talk about, but you make it home, and it's just it's pretty cool to see you when you do come back, and just to show the outside, um what it is that where you come from.
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
that's pretty cool too. And so what reactions do you get from people when
What
that
side?
happens? Well,
Home or here?
I guess from both sides.
Out here, people here on off the res, a lot of people are kind of amazed that we still live the way we live. Um, Still live in an old Adobe stucco type house. It wasn't until maybe 5, 10 years, or yeah, 5, 10 years ago that we finally got an actual plumbing for our restroom. So we had an outhouse. We still run off a stove, which and everybody questions like um, everybody tells me I used to live that way with my grandma, or they will live that way with their grandma. That's how they lived in Mexico or whatever. So they can kind of
Uh-huh.
relate that somebody's done it, but we're kind of it's still our everyday life back home. So
Hmm.
they kind of appreciate it or see where I'm actually really coming from. Uh,
Yeah.
what else? I like to see the food cooked outside, and it's just the norm for us, but it's amazing to a lot of other people. Uh, what else is there? they just want to see it. They like the scenery. We got some pretty views back home. So what else is
Yeah.
there? Uh, everybody likes the horses. I'll get messages.
That's really
People like to see how the horses is roaming free. And then vice versa, back on the Reds, everybody's like, is real supportive. They're like, man, you're doing your thing. Uh, they always tell me I'm lucky I get to with all these musicians or go all these places. And but the best I can do is just post it and share it with everybody back home and take everybody on that journey with me. So that's kind of the goal, that I'm alone, but I'm not alone because I get to share with everybody.
mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's always interesting to see, the different, because there's so many people that are, I feel like, are impacted, that feel like, because you're from where you're from, you can relate to a lot of people regardless of their walks of life. Um,
yeah.
and you've had an opportunity to travel and do a lot of different things. And um, the last time we had you on the podcast was back in 2016.
Jesus.
And
Sometimes,
it's been a long time, and you were still here at home. And
yeah.
so, going back, what year did you make that choice and decision? Because I remember, but what year did you make that decision to say, hey, I'm gonna leave home and I'm gonna go to Texas and I'm gonna try something different?
That one, it was, I don't know if I can cuss, but it was kind of like one of those F it moments, like F it, I'm gonna do it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I just kind of got a little triggered. Something happened, and so I'm like, I got to do this. I got to get it out of my system. Uh,
Hmm.
I'm listening to music sometime. I'm like, man, I can do that. Or if I hear like some of my favorite bands having a musician sit in, I'm like, he's not doing it right. Like I know what he's doing. I know how to do it right, but I get mad when I hear musicians. Like, I'm not like a hardcore fan of a lot of these artists out here, and I know their music. And I
Hmm.
used to practice to all their music. A lot of them are my inspirations. And when I hear them get somebody and they miss a note, or they're not doing it right, or they keep doing it wrong, I'm like, it pisses me off. So
Hmm.
because I know what I'm doing. Like I know, like I said, I study their music and I know what they're doing, and so
Hmm.
that was always in the back of my mind when I'm like at work. When I was working for Hiller River Transportation, and I would listen to
Hmm.
music, watch YouTube videos, and I'm like, man, I could be doing that. And but at the same time, we were doing good with our band in Arizona, uh, so it was just always a thought, like, and then until the time came when I said I had to do it,
Hmm.
and it just popped up on my memories on my Facebook. August 27th or 28th of 2017 is when I left the res. So
Oh, wow.
only 6 years, and I've done so much. It's been a blessing. It's been crazy. It's been surreal. It's I don't know how to explain it. It's all the
Hmm.
things that happen. I don't know. Speechless on that part.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when you decided. To me, I felt like, yeah, that's a big deal for you to go and leave home. And I remember getting the family together um to have a little going away dinner for you, and that was really cool. We're all
I
together.
don't know, was it you or your mom that made the little cake? It was my favorite cake. It was a little tiny cake.
Mom.
Yeah, it was a little cake.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a
Yeah,
yeah,
we
but
it was
yeah,
it was cool.
yeah, it was hard though. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, leaving wasn't easy. Like if I still go back
Mhm.
and play that day in my head, and like I'll be cruising and I'll just start crying. And it was just I don't know. It was hard, but it's funny because when I tell people who are moving off the res, or if they make that they're thinking about moving the res and they're so scared to move, or even home anywhere.
Yeah.
When they're so scared to move, you're gonna cry, you're gonna hurt, you're gonna feel alone, you're gonna be scared, you're gonna be like, what did I do? Um,
Yeah.
family's gonna cry for you. Like I said, I still remember seeing my daughter's faces, and like I said, I still cry every time I think about it.
Mhm.
Um, same thing on my mom. Hold on.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, on camera. Sorry.
It's okay. This is a safe space.
I shit. Sorry. Okay. So anyway, like I said, my daughter, my mom, my sister.
Mhm.
Finally saying bye, I got on the road, and I remember getting down the road and pulling over and crying again.
Mhm.
The funny part is, after leaving, I go away, and when I go back to visit, it's happy to see each other. We're happy to see each other. There's more tears,
Mhm.
uh, more happiness, with more food. And then when I leave the second time, it's a little bit easier. There's still tears.
Mhm.
I tell people when you leave and you finally come back after a while, then it's just back to normal. It's like you didn't really leave. You just come back. Now you're just getting ahead now. Like, hey, like you're back. So
Yeah.
so the first time you came back, they were happy to see you. The next time you came back, it's just, hey, you're back. It's,
Oh, eek.
yeah, because like a lot of my cousins that I said bye to, we cried, we shared tears and like go do your thing. But when I come back and
Mhm.
it's just good to see you, like, cool, you're okay. That's about it.
Mhm. Wow.
But yeah, I don't know. That was probably the only hardest part is leaving the first time.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
But like I said, thanks to Facebook and social media, I'm able to bring everybody along and share these experiences.
Mhm.
Like I said, I'm here alone, but at the same time, I'm not alone. So
Mhm.
it's very cool.
Yeah. Sometimes that's just what it is. Sacrifice to live your dream and fulfill the things that you want to do, and it's hard to make everyone happy, you know,
Right?
especially with family. That's hard.
Yeah. The other hardest part too is going back home and who am I going to visit first? And
Yeah.
there's a lot of times that I get some family mad at me because I don't get to visit them. But I'm like, oh, I got so many people and family, friends, and uh,
Mhm.
I I used to I did as much as I could still visit some of the patients that I used to pick up with transportation, and so that was kind of like my like I had to. There was a lot of patients that you make relationships with, and a lot of the elders, and but the hard part is when I see Facebook messages on how many elders have passed on, and a lot of them, most of those were dialysis patients. Um, but there's a few that I still keep in contact with, and I'm glad they're doing okay. So that was always the hard part. And
Mhm.
but yeah, so like I said, it's hard. Like when I go back, like who am I gonna visit? Like who do I have time for? Like who do I like? It's not who do I want to see the most. I want to see everybody. But it's just I've got. I got like I said, I've gotten a couple of family members hit me up like, what? You're too good to come see us. I'm like, no, like I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's the hard part.
Yeah. I feel I feel you. But I also I guess like for me, I get it. I understand and it is I'm sure it is hard. There's a lot of people that want to see you, that want to hang out, but you have such a short time. A week is not even long enough to visit all the people and see everybody that you want to see.
Yeah.
But the ones that you do get to see is always good. Like even for me, when you came home last time, didn't even expect to see you pop up.
Yeah.
But
So
that was
I mean, like even
cool.
yeah, like even with your mom, I always made sure I try to stop by and see her. Um,
Hmm.
yeah. So if y'all didn't know, my aunt Amelia is Tina's mom, and she had passed away. Oh, how long ago? Like
In February
February.
28th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so that was Tina's mom. She was my aunt. So I still always try to make it a point to see her, or I was always happy to see her. And I liked seeing her. Every time I saw her, she would cry. Her
Hmm.
little huggies.
She was
Um,
proud of you. We all were proud of you, but she was always proud of you, and it was always nice, when we would both run into you somewhere or we would see you somewhere. And I'm glad that in December when you came home and we were all together for Uncle Lorenzo's memorial meeting, and to be honest, I was a little surprised when you said, "I'm gonna stop by. We'll go over there. I'll stop by." And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool. He's gonna go see her," which is good that you did because that was the last time you got to see and talk to her in
yeah,
person, right?
yeah. I got to. What is she? Did she have yeast spread or
Yeah, she had yeast bread and she
yeast
made
spread and
some
red chili?
coquelitos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was nice and spicy.
Yeah, she's just at home in her little nightgown.
Was she making tamales or she just made the chili?
She makes it, yeah.
You know, did she make tamales or it was just the chili?
I think she made tamales and then the chili was left over
Just
from
left
the
over, so I
tamales.
got to eat.
Yeah. Yeah. And she was just there, just home, hanging out. But yeah, she was pretty much like, I mean, regardless of, I feel like my mom was always a part of the family, you know.
Yeah,
She was always like just there, you know, even when
yeah.
my
She watched.
parents
I mean,
did
she watched all the
separate.
uncles. She watched all the uncles grow. So
Yeah, she
there's
did.
the way she would talk
Since
about
they
them. They
got
were still
little.
kids to her.
Yeah. But I'm
A
glad that
side
you had some time
a,
with her.
a, a side note. So me and Tina's dad. Well, my dad and Tina's dad. They had a band together. I mean, if you don't know, it was called back in the day. It was called Papago Express, and they kind of got the name from the old Tejano group Brown Express. And I don't know if it was a Tejano or Norteño group, but there was a band called Brown Express. So they kind of took Express part and came up with Papago Express. That's when our tribe's name was Papagos. Um, so when our tribe converted its name over to the Tohono O'odham, which it means desert people, all the bands that were on the res, they had uh, Papago Sunliners. Everybody was Papago this, and so everybody started changing their name to like Don Alton Braves, To whatever. And so I don't know if you knew this, but Daddy told me that like how did you come up with the Express? And it was your mom. Your mom's the
My
one that
mom.
came. Yeah, she came up with the
What?
th. Yeah, she came up with the thee, the emphasis on the instead of the Express. They
Yeah.
went with Chris. So it was supposed. That's what I was told. So it
Oh,
was your mom who came
cool.
up with
Oh, cool. That's awesome. Here's a little bit of some classic The Express for you right here. Yeah, taking it back.
that. Yeah, it was good old
That's
days.
awesome. It was funny, your dad. So in one of the old album, and I never knew this, and I was showing him old pictures, and then he pointed himself out. He was all like, "E, just trying to be bad." Yeah, he
Yeah,
was all like standing there, like
yeah.
trying to do that in the picture.
Man, yeah, I remember that. I don't know who showed me that, or I saw it, but I don't. I mean, I've always known about that. The funny part was, I think I don't know if it was the first album or the second one. I was a baby, and I still can see it just for a split second. They were trying to get me in the picture, but
Oh,
I
really?
was just a kid. Yeah, I remember running behind. I still see like everything, man. I still see them, and I remember running around. I remember they kind of like they were trying to get me in, but man, I'm glad they did, and I would have been shoot all dirty baby on the cassette album, on the cassette cover. But yeah, man, like I said, I still picture that. I mean, that's all I see. It's just me running around behind them, and like I don't know. I think I had a cup. I don't know. I just remember running around, and that was all I remember. Like I still feel it. I still see it. But yeah, I would have been on
Wow.
the old cover back in the day, dude. Good
Oh, I
time.
wanted to mention, I don't know what's going on with our Facebook Live, but it hasn't gone through. So I'm gonna share with you a in the chat real quick. Oh wait, no. Um, how can I share this to you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Tap
you.
to unmute.
I'm trying to get the so if you go to our Facebook timeline, there's a link on our
On your
timeline for here. If you can copy that link or click on the link and copy it and share it to your timeline, you can people can click on it and it's a public link so anyone can click on it or they can go to our YouTube channel. We are live on YouTube right now. So I can see.
okay, I see. There's.
Oh, oops. Technical difficulties, folks. Sorry.
I know we started late. Difficult technicalities. Um.
Okay, so I put it in the chat. It's for everyone. I don't know if you got anything on the actual app.
On the app. One second. Okay, got it. Oh yeah, I saw it on the. I shared it on Facebook.
Yeah, I see somebody messaged and asked when we're going live, and I'll use the YouTube link.
Yeah. So anyway, everybody's watching us touch the screens over here. But is it recording though? You have it
Yeah,
recording?
it's recording. Yeah, it's recording.
And you can post it on Facebook
It's
later on, correct?
recording. It can, yeah, it can be on Facebook later. I did share the YouTube link on on our timeline, which, well, actually, I'm gonna create a post really quick. No, no, I won't do that.
Is everybody on? Sorry, we got difficult technicalities here.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Why it should have gone done the same. Okay. Um, I'm putting it on our timeline right now. Here is okay. Yeah, so there it is. It's on our timeline right now. The YouTube link for the live. Were you able to share the link to your
Yeah,
timeline?
I shared it onto my timeline. Monica and Lou are watching, and Uncle Lucius say, "E saggy diaper."
That's what we would have been seeing on the front cover of and Scomo
um,
Legs.
what I know. I was chunky too. I was like, oh chubby legs. Uh, Anthony Marino. Some people are watching on, or the ones that are watching on YouTube got to send me messages, so that's cool. So Monica and
Cool.
Anthony, everybody back home with the res. So, are you able to see YouTube comments if there's any? And also, if he's on right now, Uncle Fidel, he's somewhere. He's a truck driver now, so he's out there on the road. I just talked to him earlier. So if you're on,
If
shoot
you're
me a text.
watching, hi. Drive
I know.
safe. Miss you. Love you.
And Uncle Lucius is on. Uncle Lucius
Oh,
was the baby of the uncles. Your big
yeah.
baby. He was one of those drummers. Him and my uncle Lorenzo were those drummers who used to sit behind and just want to be exactly like him. The good old days. So we get to get we uh, they would give us their old cymbals. If it was a cracker, we didn't use it, so we use it for our little drum sets.
Yeah. Yeah, those were the days.
Hey, Tina, don't be close to the camera because they're watching us on a 65-inch TV.
Oh my God. Dang. Who's watching us on a
Little
TV?
Monica.
Oh. Cool. Well, before we get back to more talking, you wanna play a little?
Uh, Actually, I can just show off my instruments. What I got so
Okay.
far. What I got with me.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to show you the the the, the Bajo Six I bought, or I didn't buy really. It was kind of like my mom, my dad, and my sister. They all kind of pitched in for this. So I've had it since I don't even remember, for sure over 10 years. I've had it. Um, but the brand is Reyes, Guadalupe Reyes. He was out of Gregory, Texas, and I always wanted to meet him or go to his shop, but the guy he got passed on a long time ago. So if anybody has connections, or if he still has a shop, or I just want to see it, I want to know where my instrument came from. But so recently, I had when I first moved, I never did anything to it. I didn't maintenance my guitars. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to, or I just didn't want to part with it. So when I moved out here, I finally had opportunities. And it came down to one of my buddies I met, and we just became family. Is Jacob Salinas. So anybody looking for a Bajo Sexto custom made, it's Jacob Salinas. So it's Salinas Guitars and Bajo Sextos is what they call it. So him and his wife Soraya, they run the shop, and so anyway, he was ready. He was able to restore my Bajo Sexto. I had some uh, what do you call it? Some physical damages, but he took care of it. And I don't know if a lot of y'all didn't see it, but so they did have to take off the stickers, the decals I had on there. So this is there she is.
Nice.
So this is my Reyes Bajo Sexto, and still has the sticker in it and everything. So that's my favorite part. I so kind of like to represent the Reyes because there's not a lot of them out here. And then my other one I have was made by Jacob Salinas, and so it's pretty cool. It's like my first Bajo Sexto made from. I got to watch from the ground up. I got to see it when it was just wood, but this is my Salinas Bajo.
Dang, that's awesome. So it's pretty much just custom made,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
We picked on the wood, and so my favorite part was just this pick guard alone right here. It's real pretty,
Yeah.
and it's like a resin. It's a see through. It's supposed to be not block all the resin of the wood. So that's pretty cool. And then I got all this, and then so this is the work of Jacob. So yeah. So anyway, this is my Jacob or my Jacob, my Salinas bomb text over here. So um, oops, sorry. So yeah, I got another one being made. I got it. I don't know what made me do it. Just another effort moment. So I got another one coming from Mr. Jacob Salinas. So that one
Cool.
will be actually a Sexto with 12 strings. So this one's a Quinto with 10. So I'm kind of
Yeah.
excited. I got to see the beginning stages of it. So pretty excited. Sorry, kind of keep
Cool. That's awesome.
for a
No, it's okay. It's a nerd friendly zone here.
second.
And then so, Wahoo is not the only one. You play everything. You play the bass, the drums, the accordion.
The Bajo, yeah.
Um, you said you
Um,
tried the saxophone, it didn't work out.
no. Um, so another side story to those who don't know, Tina's dad was my first teacher. He just pulled me aside, gave me a guitar, said, "You're going to learn this." Um, so we sat outside practicing, practicing, practicing. Grandma would call us in to go eat. Then we'll go back out and practice again. And was it like 6 months later, like in June, right? He passed on. So
Yeah.
my uncle Ricardo
Yeah.
passed on, and
Hmm.
I remember when he passed on, like. I was like, "What are we gonna do? We need a saxophone player." And I was like really determined. I remember thinking like, "I'm gonna play the sax. I have to play the sax." I started playing the sax. I'm like, "I don't want to play the sax." Like, it's like, no, I couldn't do it. I was like, yeah, nah, the sax wasn't for me. But yeah, that's the only thing I can't play.
Is there so after the bajo, what is your second favorite instrument to play?
I don't know. I like drums and bass and drums equally. I like the drums because you get to make noise and beat on shit, and then the bass is just groovy. So I kind of like them both
Mhm.
equally.
Yeah,
And then the
cool.
accordion I had to learn because I just had to learn it.
Hmm.
So we used to play at a small bar called Last Chance, and I was 16 and I started playing the Hano. And when I was in that band, we would play song after song after song after song. We didn't take more than 2 minutes between songs, and the set kept going. So, but it's different on the res or even in a bar. We'll play one song, chill for a couple minutes, let people go out, get the drink, song,
Hmm.
whatever. So it wasn't consistent. So I got hungry. I mean, I got hungry for music. I just wanted to play, play, play. So I remember I learned my first tune. Then I remember learning three. So when I learned my three songs, I would play them back to back to back. And I just wanted the music to keep going. And I remember it got to the point where I learned enough to play an hour's worth of music. So we'll play a song, break, wait not even a minute, get ready, let's go again, next song. And
Hmm.
so yeah, I just got hungry. And Last Chance it was a dive bar, but sometimes it'd be packed, sometimes it won't. But I just took advantage of it. It became my practice base. Like I was getting paid to practice, and that's all I wanted to do was play music. And like I would force the other guys to play, and they wanted to take a break. I'm like, no, go ahead and take a break. I'll play your instrument. Come back. Next person you play, you go take your break. I'll not play your instrument. So it's just
Cool.
I just wanted to keep learning. And so the accordion, I just kind of got forced myself to learn just so we can keep the music going at a gig or something. So,
Yeah,
so
that's
but
cool.
yeah,
Yeah, it was really cool the last time when we did get together with the uncles Rupert and Isaac and
yeah,
myself and you. That was a really cool little that was my first time actually playing with you guys.
that was fun. That was fun,
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Oh,
and it sounded
classic
good too.
practice.
Oh, so Tina's the drummer. She plays drums. Um, shoot, we started on pots and pans playing, or more or less boxes, huh?
Yeah.
We'll be at our at our dad's mom's. So we'll be at our grandma's house, and since all the uncles play music, we would make our own makeshift drum sets and guitars or whatever. And yeah, there was some good drum sets we made. And like I said, our uncles, if they broke a cymbal, we get the cymbal. And but yeah, so if y'all didn't know, Miss Lady T over here, good drummer too, and picking up the accordion.
Yeah, picking up the accordion. Yeah, it's
So
just like every
what made you
day.
what made you pick up the
Huh?
accordion? What made you pick up the accordion?
I just felt like I had always wanted to learn it and just like seeing how other people play, like, man, people can get down to the accordion and it sounds so good. And you can move around with it, you can dance with it, you can put on a show with an accordion. And I was just like, man, I want to do that. I don't know if I want to put on a show and dance around, but I want to learn. It just sounds so cool. It sounds pretty badass. And so I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna buy one and I'm just gonna be at home and play it for fun. And just the more I started to learn and get into it and learn songs, the more dedicated I started to get to it. And now I feel like I don't know where I'm at as far as like how good I am, but I feel like I'm okay.
Yeah, yeah, she did pretty good. You played a couple songs with us uh at the house, right? You threw like
Yeah.
Isaac. You played a couple songs together. The Uncle Isaac
Yeah,
played.
yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
Mhm. Yeah, the La Nopalera one, which I actually got to talk to Max Baca about that yesterday and tell him how I started to learn how to play and that I seen a video of him and Flaco and some Merdagan dude on YouTube, and he's very young, and that's the song that they played. And when I first heard it, I immediately wanted to learn that song on the accordion. So I found another YouTube tutorial video and I learned that song, and that was the first song that I learned, like the entire song. That's the
Yeah.
first song. Yeah.
The cool part was a little side note. Since I'm family with Max Baca, that's my family, man. He's like another. He's like a brother. He's just he's family. He's my family now. I used to look up to Max when I was first time I saw him. I was 16. I saw that. I mean, I never seen him for years, but when I was 16, I would read all the credits on all the CDs, and I would always see Max Bach on the different artists, special guest Max Bacher. I'm like, damn, this dude's bad. So I followed Max like crazy, and I used to learn all his licks. And the funny part was, I used to practice everybody's style. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I'm gonna play with them one of these days. They're gonna call me. They're gonna need help. And I used to practice all these tunes. So when it came to Max, I used to practice his music. And after a while, I'm like, nah, he's the leader. He'll never need another bajo saxophone player. There's no way I need to be learning his stuff if he's going to be whatever. Lo and behold, I move out here and I'm playing right beside him, next to him, behind him, the backup bajo. Like, who would have thought? Like, that was, I mean, like, I'd be sharing the stage with another bajo saxophone player, like my idol, my hero, um, I guess my teacher, one of my many teachers. So, back to Max. Miss Tina, she got to do an interview with Max. So that
Yeah.
was I'm,
Yesterday.
I'm really really excited. I mean, I want everybody to experience this, and I'm glad you got to see him and everybody. So I get excited for you that it was able to happen. And I mean, like, you know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like, if I had never made this move, there's a lot of certain people that got experiences, and I feel good to be part of that. Like that, I kind of made it happen.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, you
so,
did. You made it happen. I wasn't even expecting that. I was just all like saying, "Oh, hey, we're gonna go to the show too." I was expecting to be in the audience with everybody else, but I got to be backstage in the dressing room and meet Flaco Jimenez and Max Baca and all of the other musicians and all of them coming in and out of the room and just to see the magic behind the stage. That was
hmm
amazing. That was a really cool experience. I got to take my father-in-law with me, and he was just in awe as well. And having one-on-one time, I got a 30-minute interview with Max Baca, and he talked about the first time he met you and how you asked to play his bajo and
it
how
was
he was
it was
impressed.
at
And
the opera.
he even said that at you've been playing a long time, and he said at this point, Steve is a master at his instrument. And yeah, it's true, you're a professional at this point. You've done a lot. You're educated. You educated yourself. You put yourself through an educational institute as well. I remember kind of some like way back, weren't you taking some kind of schooling or classing with the music or
That
something?
Well, that was more for audio engineering. I went to the Conservatory of Recording Arts and Sciences is where I got to go to. It was kind of a crash course, but I got to learn on uh, recording engineering, live sound. My thing was live sound, so that was kind of the side. But but yeah, like I said, I get excited when I know family gets to experience the things I experience on a date. Like, it's the norm to me now, and
Hmm.
like let's get a chance to take my dad or my mom. Like if I'm not there, I make sure to make a phone call. It's like, hey, can you get my mom in or my dad in? Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, even backstage we had my brother Brandis Joaquin, my brother Daniel Lopez, my little nephew Jacob Lopez. Um, who else is back there? I think it was just those three that I saw, and my dad, of course. I mean, I'm like I get happy, like I'm excited for them that they got to experience it. I mean, that's all I want. I mean, like I wish I could take everybody and anybody. Like when I go to a gig, I want you to see the backstage. I'm living that dream now that I get to be backstage or just chill and just it's almost like a camp or something when you go to a gig and you see other musicians. You're like last night we played at a big fair and but we all the bands had to check in at a certain spot and out of nowhere comes the band Los Desperados and I know them now, so it just feels good to have an open hand. Like, hey, how you doing? And of course, the saxophone player Lee. It feels good that I'm connecting with all the bajo players I look up to. So every time I see Lee, it's like an embrace, and or like any other bajo player, like that's it. It just feels like you're on a camping trip or a field trip, and you run into other buddies. You're like, hey, how you doing? But with Desperados last night, it was kind of quick. Like, hey, buddy, like good to see you. We got to go. We got to jump on a cart, and they took us to our stage. So it's pretty wicked,
Yeah.
man. But like I said, like back to home, like I'm happy you got to experience that. You got to eat the food. You got to see everybody. You got to see the dressing rooms. Uh,
I got to get Flaco a beer.
yes. Yeah. Uh, I, Flock. I learned how to open a. I mean, I don't drink. If anybody, nobody knows I'm going on. I'll be 40 in November. Be 40 years old in November. But I'm going on 40
Whoa.
years of no drinking. I've never tried drinking alcohol or anything, beer, whatever. But I learned how to open a beer for Flacco. We didn't. Nobody had a can opener, and he said, "Oh, come over here. I'll show you." So we went to the restroom, or actually just the door of the restroom, and he used the door hinge and popped the top off the beer.
What? Dang, all pro.
Yeah, so that was my little man. It's pretty cool. Like I said, I still get happy for everybody. I'm like thinking about the guys. I'm happy they got to chill and just. I've always wanted to be there with them, like to do that. But I'm glad. I mean, I wasn't there, but I'm glad they got to go and enjoy themselves and experience all that.
Hmm. Yeah. I was impressed. Like you had those kind of connections. I was like feeling all cool. Like, what? I got a wristband. I'm parking in the back.
So
Like access. I felt like Wayne and
yeah,
Garth showing my backstage pass to everyone.
yeah, man. I mean, I wish everybody could experience it. I mean, like, if I have to, it's gonna be one person at a time, as long as they get to experience something like that.
Yeah, it's been really awesome and amazing to see you so do you have like people who come to you who feel inspired who say, you helped me along this way, or I'm inspired by what you do as an author, as a musician. Are there folks that come to you like that?
Openly, openly, a lot. I got a lot of that from natives from back home, which it always feels good. Even my up to, they're telling me like I'm proud of what you're doing, and it makes them feel good that I'm doing something. But yeah, I get a lot of that back home. It's like they just keep telling me to jam out, and they're happy that I get to bring them along in this experience. But yeah, it's pretty surreal. Like I said, I get to talk to some younger musicians, and even they'll message me like, "Hey, how do you do this? How do you do that?" Um, but yeah, it just feels good just to talk to those guys. And uh, ooh, what was that? Can you hear me? It's kind of delayed.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was
Oh,
checking out the YouTube right beside me, but
uh, yeah. So yeah, we'll get messages and they'll ask, "How do you do this?" Whatever, and it just feels good because as a kid, I was always the loner. I was always the loner, and like I wasn't the cool kid. I wasn't trying to be the cool kid. I was just whatever. Uh, but now to have these youngsters come up to me and um, just I guess look up to me and come to me for advice, and it just feels good to be able to give that to people when I was looking for that as a kid. I mean, I got that. I mean, well, as kids, we got that from our uncles. They were all our uncles, but they treated us like their kids, like they were all dads to us. They worried about us and all that. So now I get to return that. I mean, if not to my own family, to other musicians, to kids, like I want the best for them. And so yeah, it just feels really good to hear that from a lot of youngsters. I mean, that'll actually be vocal. And, I mean, I invite it. Like if there's other kids out there that just want to chat or any questions, I'm down to message. And then on this side, um, it's pretty cool to hear from musicians I've looked up to and say, "Hey, you're doing badass," or "What you did is an inspiration." Being that I'm native, playing in a Tejano genre, or yeah, a Tejano Tex-Mex genre, I guess, or different culture, and I'm hanging with a lot of the tops that I've looked up to, which was my goal. Like I just wanted to be alongside of like a lot of the best out here, and so it feels good to hear from those musicians that can actually come to me and say like just give me props for what I've done. So it's pretty cool.
yeah, that's
And
awesome.
then like even outside, like I got to play in Monterrey, Mexico for the first time, and there was dudes coming up to me like showing me YouTube videos of my YouTube videos. I'm like, holy shit, in Mexico, like
Cool.
been a lot. I know it was 5 people that came up to me and talked, and they're like, "Hey, I know who you are. I see you, whatever."
Whoa,
So I mean, like just those 5, I'm like, that's pretty cool.
that
And
is.
so like the places I've traveled, like more recently, I played in Milwaukee, and I got done playing, and I went to walk around, go sit out there, listen from the outside, and there was people coming up. And it always feels good when I get approached by elders. I mean, I get approached by everybody, but when elders approach you and they say you're doing good or I'm a fan, it just feels good to hear. I mean, of course, I try to give them like all my time because you got, of course, respect our elders. So I enjoy hearing from them. So yeah, I was in Milwaukee. There was a couple elder gentlemen that came up to me and they started talking to me. Oh, you do amazing and whatever. So it was pretty cool to hear that.
Yeah,
Like I noticed outside of, I
cool.
guess for starters, I noticed off the res and I've noticed off Texas, and I'm like, you know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yeah, that's cool. That's like I think that I think that you're in a place now where yeah, you're pretty credible in what you've done and what you are doing, and you are a professional at what you do because you've been doing it for so long, since you were a teenager, since you were a kid, maybe even younger, and you're about to be 40 soon.
Why you got to bring up shit?
The big 40. No, I'm just kidding.
Bones gonna
But
start giving out.
but it's just really it's definitely something to be proud of, and we're glad that you get to be out there experiencing all these cool things and just living your dream, living out your
Yeah,
dream, things that you've always wanted to do as a kid, and now you're doing it. And, you're giving opportunity to other people, like that. You gave me an opportunity, doing what I do in radio and in podcasting. You were able to give me an opportunity to, get an interview in. and done, and then also have access to places and spaces that I wouldn't have had access to if it wasn't for you having access to and those connections as well. So, talk about networking and knowing people. And that's one thing I learned in with the things that I do and being in radio or whatever. It really is true. The saying really is true. It's not what you know, but who you know, kind of thing, right?
Exactly. Exactly. That's been a trip. I mean, like, I get to see that a lot. Even just little things like, again with time, man. Like, oh, I lost a battery. Somebody's gonna jump. Like, oh, I got a battery. Oh, here, take mine, or use my equipment. You're good. And it's been pretty cool to see a lot of that happen. It's just who you know and what, I don't know. It's a trip. It's pretty crazy.
So, do you ever have like so you're doing music now? Do you ever think you would record another Wired album?
Actually, yeah, I would. I mean, that's without a doubt I would. I mean, like, I'm still listening to music. I mean, I haven't really picked up the accordion to learn the songs I want to know. But hell yeah, I mean, like, even out here, I'd be down to, like, I guess the next goal is to do some old Wired tunes with musicians from out here. Me and Max we play all the time. I mean, he's down. I mean, like, he has we talk about like little projects amongst each others. But for myself, yeah, like doing another Wired album, playing accordion, or even playing all the instruments again, but also having a guest musician or something like that. I mean, it just feels good that I'm comfortable enough to say that I could call a few musicians that I look up to and they'll actually do it. So that that would be surreal, like, just to say there's this Tejano conjunto artist on this Wida album, or jamming Wida,
Yeah.
or
It was cool to see that Dwayne guy. He is from
yeah,
Holland.
Dwayne Verhaden,
And
yeah,
yeah, he's from Holland and he knows the language. He speaks Spanish. He plays
he's
the
really good Spanish.
accordion. Yeah. So, yeah, that was pretty cool to even see someone like him like that being highlighted as part of the show.
Yeah, that's another one that people talk. I mean, it feels good to be part of. I guess you could say I'm part of his, not genre, but of his. Um, this like we connect. I mean, we're on the same level of not being Tejano, but doing it in the Tejano industry, I guess. So
Yeah.
I like watching him, and I like seeing the moves he makes, and he's doing his thing, and it's pretty awesome to be on that same, I guess, in that same category, I guess, of an outsider
Mhm.
being welcomed on the inside.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I had no idea. I had heard about him, but to get to see him and meet him face to face, and then see him perform was pretty cool.
Yeah, I got to perform with him a couple times, songs, and the first time I played with him, he actually played one of the songs. I don't know the name of the song, but Grandpa Lester used to play it. Uh, whatever that's I, I forgot what the song was anyway, but so my first time playing with him, he broke out with that song, and I'm like, oh shit, I know this song, and so
Oh,
that was
really?
pretty. That was pretty cool. Another side note: our grandfather, dad's dad, was a fiddle musician in the, I guess, the in our folk tradition.
Yeah.
We got our traditional language music, our traditional ceremonies, but we also have our traditional celebrations musically. Uh, Out here in Spanish, if you say the word baile, our tribe is pretty relative to Spanish, and so our word for dance is waida, Waila. So back home, we got a style we call waida music, and so my grandfather was one of the first. Oh no, not one of the first. The style they played was one of our traditional music. It was like, historically speaking, we got to go historically. When the Spaniards came and brought Christianity to Native Americans, they converted natives into Christianity, and not nicely, but it happened. So natives were forced into Christianity, and the teachers, the nuns, and the teachers would teach the natives to play music for church and in the mass. And I tell people it's the same history as conjunto music. That Tejano, so Tejano is like more modern. Conjunto is real traditional, but before conjunto, it's the same history. Um, the Germans came, brought the polkas, but polkas are Polish, I believe. I don't know. I mean, there's different places that the polka music actually comes from. So when the Germans came and brought the button accordion and everything, the natives kind of learned that instrument and started playing songs and having their own little dances on their own. Um, but yeah, so before the button accordion, there was a fiddle. So our grandfather, actually both our grandfathers, our dad's dad, and his name was Lester Vavages, and also our grandfather Elliot Johnson. They played fiddle, and they had a group called the Guachi Fiddlers, Guachi, Guachi Fiddlers, and they did pretty good for themselves. They made it. Was it Carnegie? Was it Carnegie Hall? I don't remember.
I I know they made it to the Fiddle Festival in Portland, Port Townsend, Washington.
Yeah. I can't remember the video. There was another on stage. I want to say I'm not sure if it was Carnegie, but it was. They made it to a big stage on the East Coast, and so yeah, our grandfather used to play the fiddle, and the fiddle. I used to hear all these old. We say chode in Spanish, and out here they say chotis. Uh, a masurga out here they call it redova, but also a masurga out here is a minor key of the redova, and then the polkas. And so yeah, our grandfather used to play that kind of music, and that's I don't know how we got here. He just started drifting. But yeah, so anyway, side note, our grandfather used to play fiddle, and I don't know. I just started talking, and I don't know what we were talking about.
No, I mean, I think that's where wider music derives from, is from fiddle music, and then throughout the years has evolved into
Yeah,
what it is today. And the sound has changed and is changing, and it'll continue to evolve. And that's what's really interesting about wider music. It's just continuing to evolve, and it's a sound that comes from us as autumn, creating different sounds and different instruments. And yeah, it's just every generation has a different sound, and you can tell, which is pretty cool.
yeah. I mean, I like that it's generations changing, but at the same time, it's a representation of who they are. I mean, like if we go back to like Big John, his era, um, I don't know how to say it. Like, so Big John had a tendency to indulge. Like, he had his preference, but he would play that in his music. You could hear his vibe. You could just tell he was just floating. He was on one, and he was just having a good time. He was probably the first person. I don't know if it's done before, but he was probably the first and only person that I know of that's used the wah pedal on the accordion. And
Oh, cool.
I got to. I mean, like, I hope I'm not crossing the line with the family. No disrespect, but I got to ask him one time. I was able to give a ride to uh, an appointment, and I was like, "Man, what made you come up with using the wah pedal?" And he said he used to play rock music back in the day. So him and his family, they had a rock band, and he had a wah pedal. So back in the day, like the earlier, I guess you could say the hippie area, uh, he partook in a substance. I'm not gonna say which one it was. So while he was on his little trip, um, he said he was just looking around out of nowhere. He was playing the accordion. He said he could see music notes floating. He saw music floating, and for some
Yeah.
reason in his mind, he thought it felt like a wah pedal. So he connected a wah pedal, which is for the guitar. he connected that to his accordion mic, and through that he will play the accordion. And that song that he recorded was called, I think, "Crybaby." So it's an old. So that
Yeah.
was pretty cool to hear that. So and, oh, so anyway, back to like the music being an identity of who they are. Also, the Cisco band back in the day. Our uncle Lucius was the drummer for them at the time, and they were all metalheads, and they showed it in their music. Like the cumbias were kind of moshy and metalish, and their tunes or their choice of music or the interpretation of it was real metal. And I don't know, just the vibe of that person, you could tell how they play. So that's always been cool about White music. It's just they play their persona like in the music and probably not knowing it really. So it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really awesome. Somebody I being in radio has really helped me to appreciate wider music and the classic, but also become more interested in the history of it. And so, kind of having my own little, I don't know, like a database of wider history, photos, links, online articles, music. Um, I've even thought about how can I archive our own family's history. Having pictures of Grandpa Lester from the 50s when he started music back in when he was in high school and at Sherman when it was an institute in the early 50s, having those black and white photos of him, and he's just a very very young guy. He was a kid, and it's just really cool to have that. And then it's cool that Uncle Fernando has that VHS, which that's something that I want to ask him if, if I can
Did that
inherit
go?
that
Yeah,
VHS. um, and I've even
yeah.
thought about, I didn't, when thinking of like where they came from, where they started from on the res, I'm just learning about grandma's side that it was her that, being from Kababi and who her parents were out there, and that how her coming, that's how they, I guess I'm assuming that's how they ended in Komwahui, because that's grandma's side of the family and where they were from, but they grew up there too in Komwahui. And then grandpa's is in Chuchu. I feel like, to me, just because I've seen actual records and documentation of old census papers from the 40s, that's where grandpa and great grandpa Jonas Vavages,
Wow.
they lived there, since they were just little kids. And Jonas, and who knows how long Jonas lived in Chuchu. But I like to think that that's where Vavages originates from, is from there.
That, yeah, I remember you showed me those. That was pretty awesome to see. I mean, like, and like with our last name being Vavages, it's still pretty cool. Where did that come from, and how everybody is like is so unique. Like it'll be
Yeah.
cool to hear the history of it, how it came, or what it's from, or were they trying to call us savages and they just ended up throwing a V in it and we just became Vavages?
Maybe that could be it. That's one theory.
Loose my theory.
Just kind of how, like, I've heard like elders say, like Bernard, I've heard him talk about how, even with the word Pima, maybe they assume that we were saying Pima, but we were saying Pinyamach. I don't know what
I
you're saying,
don't know.
Pinyamach. Maybe that's where the word Pima derives from. So they called us
I've heard
Pimas.
that too. Is that really a thing, or I don't know?
Yeah, I've heard Bernard say his theory of where that how that word probably came to be, but who knows?
Yeah, like even ours was it Papago was supposedly meant bean eaters.
Yeah.
Harvest the beans. And then was in the I don't remember when they changed it to Dawn Autumn.
86.
86.
Yeah, 1986.
Now we're the desert people.
Hmm. Yeah,
Hmm.
and so I know that with what you're doing now, being out in Texas, do you gig every single weekend pretty much? Just about every weekend?
Almost. That's really the hard part because there's a lot of musicians that are full time musicians, and the hardest thing about that, I mean, I did it for a minute just because I wanted to live it and try it. It is really hard because we could have, like, for instance, pre COVID, I was playing with Bobby Pulido. I played 4 years with Bobby Pulido. I was helping out J.R. Gomez. I was playing with my family. They became my other family out here. Is Belen and Ramon. Um, I played with them, and I was also helping out my brother Flavio Longoria and the Conjunto Kings. And like Bobby's gigs were pretty spread out, and it just fit. I had like 3 months full of gigs. It just fit perfectly. It was Bobby Jr. Like it was just a mix of everything. I would be in state, out of state. It was just going to work perfect. I was ready for that. I mean, it was going to be a good pay in general. I mean, like I would have been okay. But COVID hit. I lost all of those gigs. Um, yeah, so it went from a good amount of money coming in from working or from gigging to nothing. So that's the hardest part for a lot of full time musicians is you could have a good run of gigs, gigging, and then out of nowhere you're done for like a month or two. It's just I guess it's just how it works out here. I mean, like even through August, sometimes there's not a lot of bookings because of school. So people are not booking that many bands during August because of back to school season. So it's a gamble to be a musician. And the hardest part is there's a lot of again full time musicians. They do good for themselves. They get by. They do have to save, but at the same time, because they're only doing music, they don't have insurance. So it's a lifestyle they choose, and that's dedication, man. That's hard. I mean, like to put all everything in one bucket, knowing that that's going to be your income, that's going to be your lifestyle, that's your passion. But at the same time, at the end of the day, when you do that gig and people are coming up to you for autographs, or you um, you've made that name for yourself, and people are going to come see you, just and it's all worth it. I mean, like you could be at the bottom of the barrel, you have a gig, and you go and you see all these people, and they're screaming for you, they're screaming your songs, they're everything, and at the end of the day, that's their that's the goal right there. I mean, it's pretty cool to see. I mean, like, it's a trip. I mean, it's not easy. It's not for the weak, in other words. And as for myself, like, I was jumping from, like I said, band to band, so I kind of had to get myself a job. Um, because, like my mom would always say, you need work. You have to keep a job. So I did my best to try to keep work here and there. So far, I think I've gone through like 4 jobs out here. I mean, I go into a job knowing to get fired because I rather gig than work. So when the weekends come, when the weekends come, I'm like, I'm gonna. At the end of the day, I rather fulfill my dream than a company's dream. So I'm taking care of me. Over, I mean, like I rather play music than. I mean, I don't mind working. I mean, I did some pretty physical stuff here. I've done worked at a lumber yard. I worked at a battery warehouse. Um, I'm working at a transmission plant, and this last one is not as physical, but the past ones were like brutal. Like I'm just getting pulling my back, spraining my ankle, blisters, everything you name it, and like I wouldn't complain and I wouldn't quit because like I was just telling like because at work we got lazy people, and I would tell them I was like if you were in my little family back home, they would call you a bitch. like If I were to call,
Bond
if I
my
were to call,
bitch.
yeah, if I were to if I were to call a cousin right now, I'm like, and cry to them like, man, this job's so hard. I'm tired and whatever. And they're like, quit being a little bitch. Just do it. Man, the fuck up. So, I mean, I grew up with that mentality. Like, I don't. You know what I mean? Like, we had to. I mean, like, we were raised tough as kids. Like, you had to do this. You got forced to do something you didn't want to do, and you had to get by. And like, and I try to explain to a lot of youngsters at work, like, dude, you got to do working with arthritis. You got to do that. Has to move because if he doesn't move, his muscles and his joints lock up, and he just starts getting tired. So he gives himself that physical job on purpose, just so he can keep his body moving. There's another guy who can't move because inside, um, he has not digestive problems, but he got in his innards ain't working too great. But he needs a job, so he pushes. And yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. So back to that again, sidetracked.
No, it's all good.
I mean,
This
I've
is
heard that
like
the native the native way is like you're talking about one thing and out of nowhere you're just going this way and we're like, how'd I end up way over here when we're talking about this over here? When they say natives are storytellers, we're good. Like
hmm
storytelling things that we have to share everything that we possibly. I don't
life lessons.
know. Yeah.
But it's good because this is a part of you that we don't get to hear, or we don't know what's really going on aside from the music part of it. We don't really get to hear, or folks don't really get to hear much of like your, I guess, more personal stuff of like your work and what else you do outside of just being a musician and being on the road and jamming out and all that kind of stuff. So that's good stuff.
Yeah. Nah, I can't go there. I had another story. I'll share with you personally because I don't know.
Well,
I had a goal. Huh?
since we're not live on Facebook, can you tell us about your 36-day fasting?
Oh yeah, I forgot about it. So the reason she's saying about Facebook is because when I posted on Facebook talking about my fasting, Facebook said I did something with guidelines or whatever. So anyway, so back to our fasting. It was boredom. It was out of bored. I was being bored, and I like looking at different interviews, different stats or whatever. And so I came across fasting, and I remember coming across an old fast. It's a water fast that people used to do for 21 days up to 30 days, and they would do just a water fast, and it was in a clinic. And supposedly, with that fast, your body is able to turn on itself and sometimes eat its own sickness. Your body is able to turn on itself, eat its own sickness, and you can be cured from uh, just from this documentary. I mean, I'm not no doctor or anything. I just like hearing this stuff. But they say some illnesses were reversed. I don't want to say cured, but they were reversed or lessened. Um, so there was that, and I came across that, and I'm like, man, that's pretty badass. That's cool. Um, I wasn't gonna try it, but I just like learning this stuff. So when it came to the fasting, I've always heard of 16-hour fasting, 24-hour fasting, and then I came across the 36-hour fasting. It's called a monk fast, MONK, and so all it is just water. People can drink coffee or whatever. So all I did was drink water, coffee, and chew gum just to get by, and it wasn't that bad because when like every time I get sick or when I went through COVID, I got COVID and I was like, my mind just went traditional. I was like, all right, cool, I'm a fast. I didn't eat nothing for 4 days. All I did was drink water and Gatorade for 4 days just to keep myself hydrated. And on the fifth day, I finally ate. And by then, I was almost back to normal because all you're doing is just releasing toxins and your body, like I said, your body turns on itself. And so I figured if I could do that a 4 day not eating thing, I can do 36. But so anyway, I did 36 hours of fasting. Like every 36 hours, I would eat within a 12
Whoa.
12 hour period, which is pretty much dinner and breakfast. And so I did that for a good week and a half, and I lost about 15 pounds in that time. And then my I got they put me on another position at work, so I had to get physical, and my body's just like I was getting lightheaded and whatever. I'm like, all right, cool, I gotta eat. But ever since I started the diet or the fasting, I haven't eaten within less than 12 hours. So it's always a 12-hour, 16-hour. I mean, it was always a 12, 16, or 24-hour span of not eating. And but yeah, so now I'm down 25 pounds.
With how long did it take? Like a week and like, it was a little longer now, right?
I'm going on like 2, 3 weeks. Now I'm kind of, I think I
Wow,
plateaued
so
or
you lost
something.
25 pounds in like 2, 3 weeks?
And I mean, it wasn't just that. It was also, like I said, they put me in physical positions at work, so I'll be moving a lot. So I take advantage of it. Uncle Fidel would always say, just keep working, keep doing your job, and you're getting paid to work out. So I'm like, true. So that was always my mentality of
Whoa,
Uncle Fidel.
that's
I mean,
pretty good.
he told me that a long time ago. So I like if I come across lazy people, I'm like, move, I'll do it. And it's you get paid to work out. And
Yeah.
so with all the physical, I will with work, I was walking around 7 to 12 miles a day, and I'm pushing like
Wow.
heavy trolleys with heavy totes or pallets on it. So it's a workout. It's pretty cool. And so yeah. So anyway, that's how the fast came to. It's just out of boredom. I just wanted to try something different.
So you said it's a 36 day or a 36-hour thing?
36 hours.
And so how long are you planning on doing this
I don't know. Like
fasting?
right now,
Whenever whenever
like I
you're
said,
bored with it?
probably until I want to start picking out again. I mean, because I've done it with I've tried it with every. I've tried the vegan diet. It wasn't so much vegan. It was just because I was eating out a lot, and I came across one on YouTube where he said there's a lot of fast food restaurants that have vegan menus. They're real small, but they're vegan menus. I'm like, I'll try it. So I tried eating vegan, only vegan, off the vegan menu at different spots. A lot of times it was just like beans and veggies, and it wasn't too bad. It was all right. I didn't keep track of weight then, so I don't know if I lost or not. When I first moved here, I tried juicing. I juiced vegetables and fruits for a good 2, 3 months, and that's all I did: veggies and fruits for 3 months. And yeah, that was pretty cool. I mean, I liked it, but it's just
Yeah.
hard. It does get expensive. Um, I mean, like I said, I'll try it, and then I'm bored with or I just want food. I want to pick out. The other thing I tried was the carnivore diet, which is all you eat is meat, fish, chicken, and meat, steak, and that uh, steak and eggs every day. So it's just pretty much a protein based kind of thing. I lost weight on that one quick.
Really?
You would
On the
think
carnivore diet?
this carnivore diet, yeah.
What? Huh.
It, everybody was like, "You're gonna get clogged." Like, like, oh no,
You're gonna get clogged.
yeah.
Yeah.
The funny part is the exact opposite because all it is you're taking in protein and it just runs through you like crazy. It's horrible, but it does you do
Oh
feel
my
better.
god.
The way I came up with that one, there was a lady. If you look up the Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson or Patterson, their interview on the carnivore diet, he talks about his daughter who has uh, underlying issues, ailments, whatever. Like she could eat a berry and get inflammation. She could eat certain veggies and she'll get inflammation. She could eat certain anything processed, she'll get inflammation. Like she broke her hip or ankle at like under 20s. Like her body was so messed up. So she decided to do a cancellation diet. She'll monitor everything she's eating. So if she ate something, she'll monitor it. And if she got inflamed that day, like cancel that out. So in the end, the lady ended up just eating meat, and a lot of that just reversed. Like it wasn't gone because if she still ate those certain foods, she would get whatever. But she did. yeah, she was able to keep all her information and her pain, and she's able to live happy just on meats. So the dad tried it, and like again, Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson or Patterson, I can't remember. So the dad said he tried it, and he said his for some reason his depression went away because a lot of the processed foods and the ingredients in them can
Wow.
cause, yeah,
Yeah.
it affects you in more ways than you know, and we don't know it. I mean, like a simple headache could be just lack of or whatever food you're eating is taking out. Um, but yeah, he said his depression went away. He said after 3 weeks, his wife told him to stop snoring.
So if you're a bad snorer,
Start eating meat. Um, but even at that, that was expensive too. It,
yeah, I'm sure.
again, it's just like I said, out of boredom, I just want to try something different, challenge my body, or just put my focus
Yeah.
somewhere else.
Do you feel like you're that kind of person who just always needs a challenge in life?
Yes and no. It just depends what it is. If you put me on a carnival ride, that's a challenge I won't take. I'm, I'm scared of carnival rides. I hate carnival rides. Like, no, 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 no.
What? What's why?
Yay!
Why?
I think I think I remember the day I got traumatized. We were at a
Oh,
carnival.
tell
My
us.
mom, my mom and my dad were still together. And you remember those jets that just went in circles? They didn't spin. They didn't go
Yeah.
up or down. They just went in circles. You just sat there.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, I still, again, it's like another vivid memory. I remember it was towards evening or night or whatever, and I'm on it. So I don't know if that's what scared me or the fact that I couldn't see my mom or my dad. And I was crying. They had to stop the ride to get me off.
Jeez.
So that's one of my triggers that I know. And then even after that, remember how, so all of our uncles, me and Tina, all of our uncles and our dads used to work with the carnival, City of Fun.
Mm-hmm.
We used to get
They
all
were
three
fun.
rides. We could ride the ride over and over and over if we wanted to, and they'll let us. Or they'll save their tickets and they'll say, "Here,
Stack
take
the tickets.
it." And I think Uncle Isaac was working the tilt-a-whirl, and I'm like, I didn't want to get on the tilt-a-whirl. I'm scared. I mean, like, I'll
I
probably
remember
go ahead.
I wrote I really wanted to ride the octopus with Saya. And she was like, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" She kept asking me that. As we got closer and closer to get on the ride, she was like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm sure I want to ride it." And so we got on there, and it had just barely started, and I immediately started crying too, and they had to stop the ride to get us off.
Yeah, I've done things. I mean, I've actually later on got on tilt-a-whirl. My daughters, they're fearless. They'll ride anything. And I remember as kids, they rode those bears that just go in circles and you have to spin the bear.
Uh-huh.
I was scared,
Yeah.
but I was trying to be cool for my kids. I was like, oh, that was horrible. And I was like, slow down. They're like, no, we're going faster. I'm like, great. There was that. And I got to do the Zoom line across Vegas in Fremont.
Oh, cool.
Fremont in Vegas. Yeah. I got to do the Zoom line. Um, the first time I went was with my buddy John Gonzalez, and we both got to do it, and yeah, that was pretty cool. And I was scared at first, but as soon as we got on that straight row and just kept going, it just felt freeing. I was like, "This is awesome!" I got to let out a yell, and it was free.
Oh, cool. That is
Um,
awesome.
the Ferris wheel I got to ride for the first time with my daughters because again, I was just trying to be tough and do it for the kids, and it's horrible. But I survived. I mean, like I'll probably do something eventually that I have to, but just little challenges. Again, little challenges for myself. I think it's always a health thing. I like trying different
Mhm.
healthy stuff as a challenge. I've got into trying vitamins. I've tried. no, I've just tried it out of boredom and just a challenge, I guess.
Yeah,
So
that's cool. Yeah, it's always interesting. I feel like you're always telling me about things that you tried or, telling me to try those things too.
yeah, I
I'm
mean,
interested
it's pretty.
in, I think after this, I'm gonna look into that carnivore one though. That one is what seems interesting because you wouldn't expect to lose weight or it to do something healthy for you by eating meats. That's
Yeah,
what I find interesting. So I'm definitely going to look more into that. So anyone else who wants to go on this carnivore diet with me, let's do it.
yeah. I'll probably do it again eventually. Like I said, I mean, like even I'll just cook everything real plain. It was just um, I think you were able to use butter or olive, and it's just like real basic. The salt I barely use. I even all the way down to, I mean, like going through all this stuff. I like natural cures. I don't like. I barely take any medication, or I don't take medication. The only thing I'll take a Tylenol for is a headache that I can't take away myself. But I think a lot of the time, a lot of articles I'm coming across is if we're low on magnesium. That's been always one of the top uh, at the chain of whatever. Again, I'm not no doctor. I'm just going by what I'm doing, and I'm trying it for myself. I guess using myself as a guinea pig. The other thing was eating salt just before you drink. A little bit of salt, not a lot, but a little bit of salt. The best one is, was it Celtic salt or Himalayan salt? Just get a little pinch, put it in your mouth, drink water. And so supposedly, if you have swollen feet, the kidney's not working, so it needs that salt. That's one of the. It's been debunked, but it's also been proven. So there's pros and cons to it. So find out for yourself if you want to try it. So if you have like swollen feet, just find those salt, take a little bit with some water, and supposedly it kind of helps penetrate the kidneys. I forgot how it works, and that's how your feet are swollen because they're not getting that uh, fluids or whatever. It was something like that. So yeah,
Yeah,
like, again, like, go ahead.
I've heard about like it helps like to keep you like if you're not one to drink water, you don't care to drink water because there are people and I have a friend who's that way too. She does not care to drink water. She has to be forced to drink water. I don't even know how she's able to get through without
Function,
water.
survive.
Yeah. But one thing that I was at the Native Broadcast Summit one year. I went to that and they had this awesome speaker and she gave everyone a little black pouch and it had like this like kind of pieces of like the pink salt. And she was like, yeah, this could be helpful for you if you're at work and it helps you to keep hydrated. If you put a little bit of that and it dries up your mouth or whatever, you need to drink something. So that helps with keeping you hydrated is taking little pieces and I still have that little pouch. I keep it at work because I do use it and it does help to keep me hydrated.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how little things can keep your body. I mean, like you take your body for granted, and nobody really takes care of it as good as they should. Little things are just, I mean, like little ailments are affected by what we eat. And I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm not no saint. I mean, I still eat bad. I'm one for energy drinks. I mean, like it's all bad for you, but it's just one of those things. I mean, like it's at least a step in a good direction. You know what I mean? At least you know a little something. I
Yeah.
mean, like man, there's so many natural cures that the doctors won't tell you, and they'll just give you a little pill just to keep you a little sick so you can go back. I mean, we can all be if we all just take care of our body. You know, like you wouldn't have to cross that boundary. You know? Like I said, you know, like even all the way down to like reflexology. Um, I learned the pressure point for headaches. Sometimes my friends will get headaches, and it's just right here. It's a little spot here, and I learned how to take away certain people's headaches. A migraine is different. I can't take a people like I've tried it on people with migraines, and it doesn't work for some reason. So I can take away people's headache, but I can't take away my own. So that's when I would turn to a Tylenol. But that's probably like a while back. I had I went to the dentist and they gave me some hydro or oxy, a strong pill. I didn't take it. I'm like, I don't know, I just didn't want to go down that route. Or
Mhm.
so, everything's,
Yeah.
I do my best to go natural as possible when it comes to healing.
Yeah.
So
I
I
had
guess
some
that's
I
the,
was gonna add to that, but it just slipped my mind, whatever it was. I don't know.
yeah, I guess that's the indigenous part of me is like you want to be healthy on a natural level, spiritual level, and all that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's been an hour and a half, and I think that that's probably we could definitely come to closing out this live, and just a
I
thank you
know.
to everybody out there who is listening in, who's been watching this whole time on YouTube or on the riverside.fm link. And I'm sorry, I apologize that we couldn't figure out the technical difficulties with also connecting with Facebook Live. I know folks were expecting that, but this interview is going to live now on YouTube. It'll be there on our YouTube channel at TO Young Voices. So you can watch it anytime. And for anybody else who didn't get a chance to see it live, it'll be there. It'll live there forever.
And you said it might be on Facebook, or you're just going to use the YouTube link on Facebook?
Yeah, we'll probably just use the YouTube link to share it on Facebook. And it's also going to be on the podcast. So it won't be the video, it'll be the audio, of course, but you can listen to it if you didn't have time to sit down and watch the video. You can tune in on the platform Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you listen to your podcast. You can listen to it there. But
Cool.
Steve, can we get one more quick little jam from you real quick before we close out?
Uh, I fucked it up. Yeah.
Yay! Thank you. Whoa. Sorry, I pushed the wrong button.
Button. Wait, do it again. Push the button.
Uh, I was trying to do the applause one.
You just did the laughing.
Yeah, this little thing that I do have. um, I got a Roadcaster 2, and it has like these pads on there. You can add music, you can add sound effects, and it also comes with preset sound effects, and it changes your voice.
So I can sound like this.
Ew. No.
Yeah, it's really cool. Or I can sound.
And really pitched just like this. It's the pitch up voice. So, yay! Thank you, Steve, for being on here with us.
And it's
That's
back to
cool.
me now.
Yeah, dude, that was awesome. Should do a whole interview like that. Just the high voice.
I know, right? Change my voice completely. Let's see. A large
Oh,
robot voice. That's what that was.
sounds like one of those things.
And this one's a monster one. Happy spooky season.
Sounds like a and one of those. Remember Home Alone? That's one of those little refrigerators.
So like
This is Mr. McAllister, the father.
Yeah. The favorite part is like one of those little refrigerators you got to open with the key.
And one of those little refrigerators where you have to open it with the key. Credit card, you got it.
That's fucking awesome. Oh man, that's cool.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for taking the time to be with all of us today. Shout out to Uncle, and Monica, the family, for listening in out in Salt River. Unc Akamerd Autumn. So to any
Um,
Autumn out there listening or
for
watching,
now, wherever
Uncle
you're at, we love you.
Fidel.
We miss you. Hope you're safe.
Yes. I
So
know
a big
that
old,
well, go ahead.
but you first.
Hey. Um I don't know if Uncle Isaac and Martina got to check in and watch us, but I had sent her the link too. So shout out to them if they do are watching.
Yeah, I just want to say a big old shout out to everybody back home on the Dawn Autumn Nation. Um, all the musicians out there, all the youngsters, all the elders. Please take care of our elders. Um, even the Hill River made a lot of family and friends out there, all the way to Salt River. Um, there's a lot of natives that I come across just through Facebook and music, and all the way up to Sacramento. What I think it was Sacramento, up far north in Cali. A couple of native friends up in Florida. So to all the relations, all the fam, the native fam. Just want to give a shout out to you guys, and then of course everybody to here in Texas. The new family and friends I've made out here. Thank you guys. Always thank you guys for accepting me, I guess. Um, so yeah, I mean, can't wait to see you all at the next show. Um, and if we don't know each other's, please come say hi, say what's up. Let's talk a little bit. And I'm always down for talks. And if I'm free, I mean, like if I got to run, I got to run. I'm sorry, but I do try to give as much of my time to you if I'm available. So yeah, just feel free to come up, say hi, shoot a message, anything. All the youngsters, like again, all to the youngster, all of them back home, all the youngster musicians. Feel free to hit me up if you have any questions or just want to chill, want to talk, want to vent, whatever it is. Um, but yeah, and of course to my mom and Harmon over in Omegum, my sister, my nephews, and then my dad, sisters on my dad's side, and the brothers. I don't know. Again, it's just one of those things. There's too many people to say the highs to, and just know I'm thinking about y'all. I love y'all, and but yeah, thanks everybody. And then again to everybody out here in San Antonio, Texas, I'll be seeing you soon. Come say what's up. Come check us out at the show. So yeah,
Sweet. Well, thanks again. And it's good to see you. Miss you. Love
I
you.
know.
Hopefully, we get to
Miss you
see
too.
you. Get to see you
Yeah,
for
your next
sure.
trip,
Maybe during the
you gotta come see
holidays.
me. You gotta make it out
Huh?
here. So
Yeah.
your next trip, you gotta
Oh,
make it out
dude. Yeah. I never even thought of that. Maybe in December we can go out.
here.
We
Hey,
can
but
go out
Lorenzo's thing.
there. Yeah, I know that will. Well, I mean, we can still try it.
We'll do
Well,
both.
we'll
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 do both.
figure it out. We'll figure it out. All right. Well, thanks again to everybody out there for listening in right here on Thon Autumn Young Voices with Mr.
Wait,
Stevie Ray Vavages.
first message on here. Wait, my
Huh?
mom. I got the
Oh,
first
what'd she say?
message. Said I love you. Said I love you both.
Oh, Taylor, I
I'm
love you too.
the,
Hey.
I love you,
Any
mom.
other
But
messages?
huh?
Any other messages?
No, just
Oh
that one. I
yeah,
got
I can see. I see her too, right there.
that.
All right, well, all righty.
Okay.
Let's end
Well,
the
yeah, we better hurry up and cut it because we're gonna keep talking again.
All right, yeah. Typical natives. All right, well, have a good one, everyone.
Oh, and
Bye.
then there's the one time. Just kidding. Okay.